Okay, YouTube said I'm alive, so I'm gonna believe it, and we're gonna close this because it's just been playing that music the whole time I was away. So we've gone and had lunch, and I was working on another project for the half an hour that I had left over. So what we're gonna do this time is we're gonna work on the like the core gameplay loop of like being able to go into the hexagon world, or the hexagon cell, and like interact with the voxel world. So one thing I did think about when I was just messing around with the game there is we kind of do need to like open our hexagon here and just do this the thing where we remove the middle and we make our template, but we need to have like an arrow pointing of like which face you're going to enter on, because each face of the hex, or each side of the hexagon, is going to represent a face of the voxel. So or the voxel map. So we're just going to quickly remake our little cursor that selects what cell you are currently highlighting, and then we're just going to add a nice little like arrow somewhere in the middle here pointing like which way. So what do we maybe go like 100, 100, go just down, and then we want to go to like 120, 125, 150, I think it is 150, 156. There, I think. Okay. And then from there we can go 45 maybe. There's a thing that told me the degrees. There we go. So that's 180. That's 200. In fact, 225. We're gonna get like 200 degrees. 200 degrees. 200 degrees. No. 220. 225 degrees, 45 pixels maybe. $36 pixels? That should do. And where are you going? No, so we need to go. Oh god, so why is it like, why is it not 0? Okay. So that's 0, it's, oh, what the fuck would this be then? God damn it. Ah, we'll just do that. Nope, it's not square and I can't stand it. What do we want? What would it be like 125 is the center? And then we just come down at 270, 28 pixels. And then we go from there to there, and from there to there. That still doesn't feel square. Why? Because what are you, 255 and you? Can we turn that 128 back on? What happened to my grid? View. Show, no, it's not snap to view. Show grid. And then we want to go configure grid. And our grid was 128. Yeah, okay. Right. So what if we did 128? So we already did 64. So we're going to configure the grid with 64. And that should, in theory, give us... Oh, it didn't like that. Configure grid 64. Like so. And then we just... Maybe 32. I'm just trying to work out like a way of getting the grid to be what we actually use. So 32 should put us extra. There we go. First we can cancel. Image, configure grid 32. Like so. And then we're going to select all of this. Delete that. I'm going to pencil it. I'm going to say E. So, oh, we should do that. So from like that pixel to, I'm going to say shift that pixel, and then from that pixel to that pixel. We need to set our color back to green because for some reason it erased that. Green that. Okay. So then that's going to represent the. I'm trying to work out if I didn't get it square. I don't think I did. Like this is obviously square. I just think it's more that this canvas isn't. Yeah, I think it's 1 pixel that way. Anyway, that can be fixed later. It requires more precision than what I'm able of doing right now. So what is next? We are going to export this as assets, images, hexes. It's outline. Let's replace outline. Okay. So this gives us our outline. And then when we move the player, I think is when we were doing it on our cursor here. So when we move our cursor, we need to work out the rotation of the cursor as well. So it's not just its hex ID, but it's also we need its transform. Transform, and then because of the rules, we have to say without our player, so that it's impossible to get a transform that is both these. Okay, so then we need ID mute ID mute position. So if this is I would call this cursor still. So apparently we've got mute here. There. Now the muted cursor mute position. So if ID does not equal cursor ID. Okay, and then we need to calculate like the player's position, like the rotation of the cursor based on what position the player is in. So that closest equals so we need to say like player because dot translation. So that's going to be the player's position. That's the player's current position, which should be 0. I guess no. Wait. ID. Where do we get ID from? Oh, because it's from X. Okay, so the closest is ID dot power dot translate. No, maybe hex neighbor. I think so. What I'm trying to do is iterate through all of the neighbors and then work out which of the neighbors is the closest neighbor. So it would be like cell neighbors. I call them cell. No, where the fuck are the neighbors stashed? They're stashed in cell hex type. No, hex neighbors. They are called hex neighbors. We need to make it public. Hex neighbors. So we'll start with direction 1, which I believe is just up. Dot direction. Okay. Well, no, it's not. It's not that. It's ID plus that. Okay. So in theory, that should point up by default, and then maybe we just say direction up. Alright, so direction, and then we're going to say closest. So that's direction. Let me this distance equals hex neighbors up. Okay, so we need ID plus up, and so we add those together, and then we like that, and then we say dot like x, y, z, and then dot distance squared to player dot translation. So that's the distance from the player to this location, and then for direction in hex neighbors direction iter. So we'll need to apply the strum iterator to all of our hex neighbors. The idea being strum. So we can iterate through. No, just string. Anyway, we'll iterate through all of the directions and pick the direction that has the least number of steps. So also in theory, if we're iterating through, we probably want to give hex neighbors an angle or something. Whatever this is, input this. It's only like pub const fn angle self, and this returns an f32 match self. So this is going to be, actually I guess technically it doesn't even need a match, it's self as f32. Can I do that? No. Self as I32 as f32. So convert it to a float. Okay, downcast self, convert to a float. Okay, can I just convert to a float then? No. So it does need to be converted to an integer, then to a float, which is a little bit weird. But then we're going to times it by 60. And then 2 radians. Okay. Floating point arithmetic is not allowed. So it's not allowed in const. We can replace this with a match statement later if needs speed. Maybe. Hard code. Okay, so just put that little comment there. Maybe optimize to hard code. Then we should be to come back to our wherever we're cursor. I'm going to say we need to if ID so we need to take the square distance. This we need to get this value. So let next equal this, and then we say, but it's not that, it's plus direction. So direction. So we sum that, work out the direction to the nearest thing. If direction is no, if next is less than distance, then distance equals next. And direction equals direction. Who's going to rename this to neighbor? Alright, so it's ID plus neighbor. It's XY. What do you mean hex neighbors didn't have an iter? Yeah, okay. They said to include the strum. So we iterate through to the neighbor, we sum the neighbor, calculate the distance, add that to next if the neighbor is closest, and then we say pos dot rotation equals a quat from Z rotation, and then that would be direction dot angle. So that should, in theory, rotate the arrow to point towards whichever's like the closest hexagon, if that makes sense. Like, it's not that. So the green hexagon should be around the one we're on. Yeah, no, it's not working. So it should be pointing to whichever one we're closest to. Like if we're standing on this edge, it should be pointing that way. Like that. That is still really loud. So that's obviously not working. Which is weird, because... So if ID does not equal cursor as ref, then cursor equals ID. Let mute direction equals direction 1. So I need to like print the distance maybe? I'm going to debug this with oh, we do not want it to change. But we kind of need to run this every frame, otherwise it won't work. So we're going to do print line distance equals and then we say next. Maybe don't. No, absolute distance will always be absolute. The fact that the number is always getting bigger implies we're taking the distance from the wrong thing, which is ID, right? Which obviously is working because it is highlighting the right one. And then we're adding direction to it and calling XYZ on it. And XYZ takes in that. So XYZ definitely should be printing the right thing. Like, I don't know why it's not. Where were we? We were in cursor. So distance squared between the player dot translation. So the distance should always be pretty small. We go through and we say ID, which is this number here, plus the neighbor, XYZ, distance squared. But then as we print the distance, it gets further and further away. That's the problem. Why is it distance from 0? I need to debug more. Print line. So ID equals next equal check equals, so ID is just ID. Next check is ID plus neighbor if we can tell that these don't implement display accurate debug. So we're going to get our ID and our check here. So we're going to go, this one's the one we're doing, then we're going to check this one, which should check all the neighboring cells, because I suspect that's where the issue is. The only reason it could be getting further and further away is because it's moving from the middle. So then we're going to go doop. So it is checking the right things, because it says like it's ID is equal to 0, 2, and then it's checking check equals 0, 1, 1, 2. And then the distance is really high, so whatever's calculating distance is just not doing it right. Because it still seems to be calculating it from 0, but it... So self.x, self.y, so it should be the center, right? Like it should be the middle of the thing, and then we say distance squared between 2 points in space, and the distance squared between this and the player dot trans. It's not the. No, yeah, because it's the distance between there and the player. Because if I said. So we should. Let's just check to see if this is working. Assert equal. ID dot xyz and I guess it's ID and ID is hex ID from xyz ID dot xyz. So we need to check to make sure that the same, like converting to xyz and back gives us the same number, because it could be that our whole thing's rotated and we just don't notice, because when we convert back and forth we end up on the correct spot. This doesn't really make any sense why it's not. I don't get why it's growing infinitely as well. So it crashed. There we go. So for some reason, 0, 0, and 1, that could be a rounding error, but that's the issue. That it's saying that it's 0, 1, and then u is still 0, 0. So maybe we should just print this. So we need to print that and that, like so. ID. Needs to be debug. Print both of those, and then when we go through here, it should just always be the same. Like, that's what I'm not getting, is the fact that it's like they get completely different numbers as we get further and further away. Like ID and 2ID are not the same. Right, so as I do that, what, like, are you? It's just always giving me 0, 0. Wait. Hex ID from u.xyz. What the hell does u.xyz give me? Why is it always 0? Right, or am I just not printing onto a new line or something? I'm just being an idiot. Cause what is going on? Oh, well, yeah, we just print line, but it still makes the same thing. So this, which is the first one, and this, which is the second one, you're always just 0. So what is the ID? The ID is equal to this. So what is print line? ID.xyz. What is your ID? Because the only thing I can think is it's 0, but that doesn't make sense, because that's how we literally position. You know what it could be is that we use x, y, and everything, because xyz doesn't get multiplied by. We're not multiplying by size, I think, is the problem, and then we are dividing by size. So you know, you are supposed to be times by hex size, and then somewhere else obviously is going to be wrong, because we're still, you know, multiply by hex size somewhere else. But no, apparently not, because we're using xy there. It's still not working, but it's at least, it should be the same number. Nope. Okay, so that means that it's not that. So update transform is x times hex size. Right, and then when we convert back, we divide by a half. Okay. So not quite what I was expecting to be going on there, but so we divide by a half there, and we times by a whole there. So I don't actually know why you're ending up as -2 gives me -4, -2 gives me -3, and so something's definitely going wrong. But you're just calling xy, and then you're just multiplying like that. So Yeah, because it's X and Y. Right. We're only doing it this way because we don't want the Z to be overwritten. But 0 multiplied by that is the same. So cargo run should give us the same. It should give the same answer, but it doesn't. Like everything's still working, so what's even more confusing about it. But it's clearly going -1, 2 is -5, 4. So it's definitely giving us twice the answer. Is that just because I'm doing something wrong? 700. Okay, so go back to our cursor. So the ID, and then the ID from the ID, and the position of the ID is just giving us the wrong answer. Which makes even less sense because we're literally doing the same thing. So if I just divide by 2, do I get the right answer? Is it just purely that somehow we're multiplying somewhere? It doesn't make sense because I'm literally setting it to multiple and then it's... So is that working? So now 3, -3. So it's closer because I think that's just a rounding error now. So it was 3, -3 now, and 3, -2, but then it was 3, -3, 3, -3. Then 3, -3, 2, negative... It said 2, -2, which means it's probably just that I'm clipping the corners and it's rounding, which means that we need to work out. So ID. So ID and ID checked should be either like the complete circle, and then next is ID divide by 2 dot square distance. So that should fix it because it's how you get it to translate back to the same one. Okay. Because that's how we get these to be the same number. Is this. So let's get less spam going on. And work out what the distance is. Because the issue that we're having is as we hit further and further from 0, we're just having an ever-increasing distance. Alright, so the distance is now no longer infinitely increasing. It's just for some reason up is always preferred. We should probably put the direction's name instead of putting direction. The other option is we're also just multiplying by a number that is just a multiple pi, so it's just always zipping back around. So what was it? It was cursor. So we've got our distance, so we're going to replace this with this, like so, and then we're going to say direction, just so that I can see more clearly the reset point. Direction doesn't implement display. Display. Debug. It's debug it. Okay, like that. And then next equals that, and if next is less than distance, then distance equals next, and direction equals direction. Well, that just direction equals itself then. That doesn't make any sense. This direction equals neighbor, which is, oh, I just opened a second desktop somehow. How the fuck did I do that? Okay. All right, so that should fix it because we were just setting direction always being up. But now we're setting direction equals to whatever the neighbor we're currently checking is. So hopefully this should... not quite. It seems to be like the opposite, but that's a good start because it just means that we've got something wrong somewhere in terms of probably like the default rotation or something, which is fun. So where is it? Cells, and then wherever we do this, and then so we've got self as I times 60 to radians is just wrong, which is just always fun. So instead we're going to run the code, then we're going to match, and then we're going to fix this. So once the code's running, we're going to go match self, and then we're gonna go, all right, you. So I think that's direction 1, but we don't really know. There are a lot of hexagon cells. Where is the cursor? It should be called such. I'm gonna if I can turn that down. That is way too loud. Where is our cursor? I thought it would have been one of these, because I'm pretty sure it's called cursor, but... Sort of blur your eyes and look for something that looks different. There it is, cursor. Just so you guys can see. There's just finding the cursor. And I'm going to go, what the hell is this rotation? And this rotation should be rotation like 1 or something. We may need to spin it because it's obviously not right, but translation. U. Negative? That seems like a too high of a number. Okay, so that should, if this is 1, 2, 3, it should be 4. So direction hex neighbor direction 4 equals that, and then fill the missing. So let's see, 1 is 0. It seems to be more like a, I had it right, so I suspect it's actually the other way, that this 0 is actually 4. So when I'm at 4, then when I'm at 1, what are you? You're 1. So this is direction 5, I think we're standing at. So when I'm at 5 we don't know yet. So when I'm at, I think it's, no, this would be 4. What? No. 1, 2, 3. Direction 3? When I'm at 3, no, that's 6. When I'm at 6, give me that one. When I'm at 3, give me this one. This isn't 3. Yeah, no, this isn't. That's very confusing. When I'm... Oh, so I'm just typing in there now. This is when I'm at 2. Give me that one. So I may need to rearrange some of these, but it shouldn't particularly matter because it should just be that like some of them will be in the wrong spots. So pop that back up. Where is it? And then when we're here, we want this one. Where's our code? This now. And then finally we'll replace that. Okay. So this should now potentially fix that issue that we were having. That they'll be right, otherwise it'll still be wrong, and then I'll just flip it over because, okay, so I'm at the bottom and it points up. When I'm at there, it points there. When I'm over here, that's concerning because when I'm over here, it seems very hard to get it to select there. So why are you doing this? Oops. But none of these are duplicates, right? Like, okay, so it's more like those two are flipped. So that's 2 and 3 need to be flipped. So you're 3 and you're 2. So they're flipped because now if we put them in order, does that make sense? It does make sense. And then 5 and 6 probably also need to be flipped. So 6 and then 5. Because that would make sense, that it's descending the whole way down. We could probably also get you to stop spewing out just copious amounts of debug information. Do we not need this anymore? Right. So and we should probably potentially insert the neighbor direction as part of the cursor. So maybe we could, instead of taking your we still need the transform. We'll just also grab a new neighbor direction, and we'll just hex neighbor, and then we're going to say maybe mute n, and we're going to say if n, so reference n does not equal direction, and dereference n equals, okay, wait. It's if a reference to direction does not equal n dot as a ref, then dereference n equals direction. And then we just need to go here and say that you are also potentially a component. So this is just gonna like let us, when we enter a hexagon map, quickly look up what side the player is entering the hexagon from, and therefore but it's broken again. What the fuck? I didn't even change anything. What do you mean? What changed? I literally changed nothing. I did this, so unless I fucked up the ordering, which is not really possible, nothing changed. Ah, great. This is why you get commit shit, because what did I change? I didn't change anything. I changed that, and I changed... Oh, that. Yeah. I agree to that. I worked out what I changed. I haven't put a direction on the actual cursor itself. Okay, then we have to go, when we spawn the cursor, we need to give it a direction. Hex neighbor direction 1. There we go. That should fix it, because now it's actually going to get selected for the code. All right. Alright, so that should be all of our hex code. So, I guess for now, what we should do is be all like, you need some kind of event that can be sent. So we need to be all like, event. Right, so we need to enum, I guess pub enum change layer, and then we're going to say, I guess, to hex, and this is going to have the additional data of, I guess, ID, which is going to be hex ID, and direction, which is going to be hex neighbor, and then this is going to be to voxel. There's going to be ID, hex ID, and direction. But we also need to remember that in theory, the layers don't know about each other, so we're going to say from. Oh no, because they would need access to. So 2, and then so we're going to say I32, and then U8. We're just going to do that, and then two voxels going to do the same thing. I32. Well, I guess we could just need a vec2. Let me see, because they all have access to Bevy, so it's just vec2, and then U8, and then vec2 U8. Alright, so that's the change layer, and this needs to be an event. Derive event. So the idea being that you can call the change layer, so we need to add it to our app. So app.add event change layer. Right, then we need something that consumes the events. So we're going to say the event, change layer. Right, and this is going to be an event reader. So there's going to be the event reader, and then this is going to be just I guess events, and then this is going to be change layer, and then it needs next, which is going to be a resmute state, next state, game state, right, like that. Wait, are we inside? Yeah, we're still inside the cursor plugin. This is not where I was supposed to be doing this. I thought I was in the game layer. Right, so that's all this, and then we go to the game layer. Let me say here. We go, okay, you do this. Right. Then we need to give it a block. We need to say for event in event dot read, and then we match event, and then we just fill the missing arms. We're going to say none of this is used. Can we just underscore that whole thing? Okay, that doesn't work apparently. So we just need to do this, and we need to go next state. Next dot set game state hexagon, and then next dot set game state voxel. Alright, and then we need to do our change layer. So we need to add system pre-update change layer. So next is to, I guess, we need to register our thing. So that would be on this step. We're gonna go add no, it's something scope. Enable scoped entities for hexagon layer. Oops, no, hexagon layer, and dot enable scoped entities for voxel layer. this should allow me to flag entities to disappear when we change game modes or game states. Okay, and then we're gonna go chunk, because if we're gonna go here, we're gonna go when this all spawns. We're gonna flag all of this stuff. So we spawn all of this. We're gonna say scoped, state scoped to hexagon. The hexagon. All this is scoped. State scoped to the hexagon layer. Now, in theory, the ducky should also be state scoped to the hexagon layer, but again, I'm just sort of building around the thing at the moment. So we then need to say something like, I guess for just now, we'll put it in test. So we go pub go to voxel, and then we say pub. Okay, pub fn go to voxel. We'll get the input of the player, so input res button input key code. Alright, so when the player presses enter, we're gonna go to the voxel layer. So we're gonna need the cursor as well. It's gonna be query for hex for a hex ID and for a hex neighbor, and then we're gonna say with cursor. Not Bevy window, no. Okay, with cursor. Not cursor plugin, cursor. Which down here we need to make public apparently. That or somehow I've managed to get the cursor from somewhere else. Where the fuck did I pull the cursor in from? No, it's just higher up, it's just up there. Okay, it's pub. Alright, so we have a cursor, then we go back up to our lib. We say, okay, for the get the cursor, so we're going to select if input dot just pressed key code space enter return okay, if you click enter that cursor equal cursor dot single and then we say need an event writer. Event event writer, and we say send, and this is change layers like so, and then we say send dot change dot send, and then to voxel change layers to voxel ID is vec to new cursor dot 0 dot x cursor dot 0 dot y, and then is direction, which is cursor dot 1 as you write it. So if they just push the input return. And then we need to click. We need to put go to voxel, and then it also needs to be like in update group, whatever. So add systems update, and then go tests. Well, I guess technically no, you get on here because it's part of the test stuff that if I disable tests, I don't want it to do. So dot add system update on no so it's test go to voxel and then dot run if. No, it's like in set, isn't it? Like there should be a set dot in set update. I don't remember how to do it. We'll just run if in state game no, it's voxel, no, hexagon layer. So if we're in state hexagon layer, pressing enter should take you to the voxel layer, and going to the voxel layer should despawn all the hexagons. Let's check to see if that's how it actually works. Alright, let's see if we can get this. Nope, it crashed immediately. Did we not initialize something? Yeah, we didn't initialize the event change layer. So we need to go back to our game layer. We need to be like add event change layer. Right, there we go. That should move us on to the next step. And hopefully it'll just work this time. Hey, it'll despawn. Now, admittedly that ducky's going to get really goddamn annoying when I do this, but oh well. So that worked. So the next thing is to go to the voxel layer. So clear all this out, and then we need to go prelude. Well, I guess this just plug in, otherwise it'll re-include the prelude plugin. Plugin in it, and this is going to be a voxel plugin. Right. So we go voxel plugin, and then we go. You need to, very much like the hexagon plugin, use the game layer. Like that, so we can access certain things, and then we need to go into the game layer and say game layer, you need to not do anything because it's actually the main game that pulls it in. It's very weird way of doing it, but I'm gonna go copy that, and then we're gonna say voxel voxel. Okay, so the two voxel layers like so. So we need to fn spawn voxel map. This is supposed to be take in an event. So event reader, I'm going to say layer change. I'm going to go event reader. No, don't double the reader. Layer change, like so. Oh, this is a change layer event. Change layer. Okay, change layer. commands. Mutable commands. What's next? What's next? What's next? So we've got our layer change in our commands, and then we want to go if I think it's some change layer ID direction equals it's 2 voxel equals layer change dot last read dot last else continue else return. I think that's how you do it. That this should extract the information or return early. And then we need to do something. So this should be called something like app dot add systems on enter voxel layer like this, and then we can say spawn voxel map. Right, so basically the event should be sent, we should change layers, and then we should run this immediately. And then this should just print fire from voxel. Alright, so we are going to need the voxel camera to be turned on, but in theory it shouldn't be that big of a deal. I think actually we should probably spawn the voxel camera every time. Okay, so in here, did it say hi from voxel? It didn't. We definitely changed to voxel, but it didn't say anything. That's a bit annoying. Only because it kind of implies that it just never got to here. Spawn voxel on enter voxel layer. Print line. It just didn't say it, so do I not have the computed layer? Maybe, possibly. It's possible that I just didn't add the add compute state. No. If game state voxel. Change layer, and then you set game state to voxel. We call to voxel, and you change your game state to voxel. Now it could be that there because it would definitely if it's triggering on run, it should be writing something. Like it's just never getting there, I don't think. On enter voxel layer. Why are we never entering voxel layer? There's voxel layer. There's our compute. We say game state. We check the game state. We say the game state is voxel some voxel layer. And then to voxel sets the game state to voxel. So it's not even that it's not firing the event. Like it's not entering the state. And we're probably not adding the voxel plugin actually. That would make a lot of sense, but also like not much. I don't know. I need to go here. We need to go here and be like voxel layer, voxel plugin. There we go. I was probably just not initializing the plugin, which means that it just wasn't getting there. All right. So when we hit play, and then we come over here and we go into this one. Did it print into our console something fun? Like from voxels? Okay. That means it is in fact actually entering the part of the code that we need it to in order for it to be able to spawn a voxel world. So we're just gonna so this is gonna call fill world. Admittedly, we do need to pass in the hex type, which annoyingly is going to require us to like query the world or something, because we do. So wherever our testing is, because that's why I've kind of got it in this test section, is because it's just brute forcing everything. So we need hexes, and we're going to say query we need to query for hex ID and also the hex type, hexagon type, like so. So we should put a query for that, and then when we send this to voxel, we need type, hex type, which is just going to be again another U8, because I'm kind of just being lazy at the moment. Hex type 2. Okay, so then hex type will be we can just probably call it hex type, and then it's going to be hex type hex type equals hexagon type empty, and then for hex ID hex in hexes, and we say if ID equals cursor dot 0, and then hex type equals hex difference hex will break. So we set it to error if we can't find it, and then look for it, and then we send that through, and then we just need to say hex type is hex type as UA. So this is probably not the best way of doing it, because again we're kind of losing information because we're stripping it down to just being a hexagon. Again, you don't care, so you're just going to say hex type. Just extract the information to continue on and do nothing. All right, so change to voxels and then hex type. So the way this is going to work is we're going to say fill world, and fill world is going to take in a seed. So it's going to take in ID, a direction, and the hex type, and the commands. So it's taking commands. Okay, so you're going to need commands. We need commands for you, and then we're going to need ID, which is going to be a vec2, and then ID, which is a vec2. Okay, and then direction, Here's a good side, which is a U8, and then height, which is also a U8, or world. Okay. So, I guess we'll go for like a 16 by 16. So we're going to need more stuff. So we're going to need, this is just more like proof of concept code. So this stuff's all going to need to be written when I, like, either I've got a clear head or by the person I'm working with, just to make it work. I'm just going to brute force my way. So we're going to say struct textures, which is going to be a hash map. Enum block type. This we're gonna have air, stone, coal. Okay, so air, block type, and then handle standard material. And I think you also want to call it blocks, and then we just say like handle mesh, because I'm thinking all of the blocks will just be square for now. So it'll be all like derive, debug, clone, copy, hash equal and par equal. Okay, and then we need to say that you're a resource, derive resource, and then we need to import from world for blocks. So we say fn from world, and then we say let mute block equal blocks. Okay, so it's, I'm gonna say like this because I don't want to deal with it. And this is textures like so. Okay. So mesh. Okay. So mesh textures. Okay, so mesh is equal to world dot resource mute assets. So I missed your message. I don't know when you sent it. I'm cooking up something that is like, so it's gonna be like a hexagon grid that you can then go inside each of the hexagons and you'll get into like a voxel map that is that hexagon. And the idea is that you're going to build like a factory where the hexagons are the actual layer of the factory, like Factorio style, where all the conveyor belts and stuff can link between machines. And then the machines are built on the voxel level where you build the machine, and then you've got to build it so that in the voxel world gravity applies. So if you drop something in from the top, it'll keep falling down, like it'll go off the conveyor belt and fall down, but you can't make it go back up, which means that, so like if it drops off a conveyor belt out the bottom of the world, you can then take it around on the hexagon world back up into the top. Or if you take it off like the left side of the map, you could on the hexagon layer take it back around in from the right side of the map, to give like a really interesting like concept of like trying to build like in an extra dimensional space of like that kind of stuff. It'd make more sense like once I get this voxel bit up and running, it'll make a lot more sense. I'm just assets mesh and then dot add cuboid. Q. Maybe I didn't miss you entirely. You asked the first person that messaged like all day, and I'm like, I completely just missed it. Cuboid, length 1, 1, and 1. Okay, so we're just gonna come up here quickly. We're gonna go. We need to spawn the camera, so commands.spawn camera. It needs to be like this. Needs to be like this, and then camera 3D bundle. Do that, and then we need to also be like game layer. Game layer player, and also scoped, state scoped voxel layer, and then the 3D camera. I think actually could probably be by default. Well, actually, its position needs to be determined by the layer. So again, just brute-forcing a lot of stuff at the moment. Yeah, it is pretty complex. The idea is fairly simple. It's just more the explaining like the interest of it. Like I feel like playing the game, it's not going to be hard to understand that you can go into a voxel level and build a machine there, and then that machine's outputs will come out of the different sides of a different voxel. Because in theory, like most machines will output out the bottom, because if you just drop anything and it falls out of the map, it falls out the bottom. And then most machines will input from the top, because if you put in from the top, gravity lets you take it down into the cube. But it's just like that complex thing of like, I haven't got anything to visually show yet. Like technically, if I comment this out and this bit as well, this should compile. Maybe not quite. We'll do that too. If I run it, you can see the hexagon I've got at the moment, the nice little grid of hexagons. Let's see. So as you can see, like as the duck walks, the arrow points to what side of the hexagon you're going to enter from. And then if we go across like each hexagon, we can do it. And then there's different hexagons. So like these ones will have coal ore in them. So if you were looking for a particular material, you've got to do it on a particular hexagon. And these ones will have stone. And then all the ones that don't have anything are just empty. So when you go in there, you're just going to fall out the other side, I guess. Not sure how I've worked that out yet. But the idea, yeah, is just for now, these are empty. These ones have stone in them. The idea, I guess, being that when you pop in from the top of this one, you'll just fall out the bottom because it's empty. But again, it needs to actually have the hexagon function. So when I press enter, I go into the hexagon world, and now it's going to yell at me there's ambiguous cameras, because I haven't actually written any of the voxel code, which is what I'm currently working on. So we have our mesh here, and then we need to say blocks, or I guess textures, and the textures, and that's going to be hash map. Hash map default, and then blocks, and then for block in vox, I think voxel types. No, what do I call it? Block type. Block type iter. So it means we need to include strum. And strum macros. Okay, so strum macros, and then I need to derive strum macros on you. Strum macros. Enum iter. And then so we need to import block type f and texture f, which will return a static string and take in a reference to self, and it can be static itself. Static goes on the other side. Static function, and then it's just match self const function texture path match self, and then we say air is then going to be slash is it image slash voxels slash air. Actually, you don't have anything. You just return this. Return a blank string. Your stone dot png, and you would be coal.png. Alright, and then for here we iterate through each of these, and then we say let asset yeah, basically. Like my thought was when I came up with this idea because I literally messaged the person that I'm working with and was like, hey, I want to do something either with hexagons or with voxels, and then like maybe like we can brainstorm ideas or like look into like how we, you know, like good code for it. And then I saw one of the themes was miniature worlds, and I went, oh, that's perfect for just the idea that I had in my head at the time of doing the map of hexagons and going into the map of hexagons. And so like I literally like put on my community post like, hey, like people vote for this one because I've got a really cool idea, and what's the point of being a YouTuber? And people were not impressed. Like some people were like, yeah, it's funny because there was just kind of a joke. Like I didn't think it was going to win. It was like maybe 4th or 5th place, and because of how they did the voting, it was like if you weren't in the top 3, there was no chance you were getting to the top 3 because nobody's going to vote for one that they don't think is going to win. But I was kind of going like, it doesn't really matter because some people are like, oh, it's kind of cheating, but it's like not really because we all could see what was happening. And as you say, you can shoehorn in voxels no matter what the theme is, sort of thing. Like I had this idea of a map, a 2D map that you go into a 3D version. And it's like, it doesn't really matter what the theme is. It just so happened that cycles is something that works really well for like an idea of a factory. So we've adapted to a factory because otherwise any other theme, it may have just been a survival game or an adventure game. Like, but because we got a theme that fits factories, we're going to do factories where it's going to, you know, run on a fixed like cycle grid of like maybe 10 ticks per second or something, and everything only happens on a tick. Maybe you could do 1 tick a second, so you can mess around, and then once per second everything moves and does its thing. But yeah, the idea was it's kind of like that was my defense for people. It's like, oh, you can't really use your influence like that. It's like, well, like it's not like you couldn't just shoehorn it in if you wanted to. Like anyone's going to be making what they wanted. The theme is about making sure that you actually made it for this jam and not just something you were previously working on, more than it is to force you to stick rigidly to it. Asset server to word, and then we need to go resource. Asset. No, asset server. Okay, so you got our asset server, and then for the iteration to the blocks, and then we're going to say blocks.textures.insert block, and then asset server.load block.texture path. So, and we need to import strum for that. Okay, so that should let us iterate through that and spawn that, and then we go up here and we say in our plugin, wherever that went, in our Voxel plugin, we app.init resource block blocks. Alright, so now we have the blocks resource, which I think we need to pass into this so that we can get access to things. So blocks, which is a reference to a blocks, and then we need to also, I guess, implement blocks to do things like give us a texture. Blocks fn texture, which takes in self and a block and returns a handle to a standard material. Right, now we need to change this because this isn't just asset server load, it's I think we need to go clone here. We clone the asset server, and then we say let mute. Well, it wasn't so much tryharding, because again, like, it didn't matter what the theme was. My idea, I was fairly sure, was solid enough to get away with. It was more like, I was just memeing on the fact that YouTubers always seem to, like, be like, oh, I did a game jam, and I won. And I'm like, nah. I think the first time I did the Bevy jam, I came actually dead last. And so I was just memeing on the fact that, like, YouTubers, I guess it's more that they don't make the video unless it was good. But it was that hilarious fact of, like, I phrased it as like, hey, I'm a YouTuber, like, let me vote in something I've already got an idea for. It's like, and this was like, someone, like, the comment after the one that was like, hey, that's cheating, was like, was also responded kind of like, it's not really cheating, because, you know, most people are going to shoehorn in whatever they want. Like, they're going to do whatever they can to get the idea they wanted to fit the theme. And it's not a legitimate call to action. Like, I didn't link in and be like, oh, everyone vote for this. I was just like, yeah, vote for this one, because I want to look like I'm really smart. It was just funny. Yeah, I really want the idea to work, but also just kind of like, I don't think I can take anything seriously in my life for some reason. Just so it's that mix of, like, it's just being funny, but also, like, with a serious tone. Like, I don't know, it's hard to explain. What do we want? Materials, which equals world dot resource mute assets standard materials. So we get our standard materials, and then we say, not assets overload, it's materials dot add standard material dot default, and then with base color texture some asset server dot load block dot asset texture path. That should work. So that should load all the materials, and then we go back up to our blocks and we say self dot textures dot get, and then block dot clone dot unwrap or default, and then fn textures dot mesh, and then mesh is just self and returns a handle to a mesh, and it's just self dot mesh dot clone. Okay, not blocks, block. So you need to be a reference. Alright, yeah, it's good having a chat. I'll see you maybe in a future stream when I'm working on this, or into videos, I don't know. Blocks need to implement hash. They do implement hash. Oh, this is not blocks, it's block type. Don't take a reference to yourself. Block type, you get texture, mesh. Mesh is used. Okay, so these need to be public. Okay, so we have this, we have that, we have this, and then secure world has access to blocks, and then we say for x in 0 to 16, for y in 0 to 16, and for z in 0 to 16. What do we got next? So iterate through all of those. Let RNG equal speed. We need rand now because we need to do some random stuff. Rand. new version of rand. Here we say rand RNG std RNG from feed from U64, and then we're going to say ID dot x shifted as U64 shifted 32 board with ID dot y as U64. Okay, so there's our RNG for generating the same feed if you're always giving the same vector input, and then the side. You don't think the side matters because the side, in theory, the main reason the side doesn't matter is because that's where the player will be placed, not got anything to do with the generating of the world. So when you said blocks is res blocks, and we can pass that down. So reference to blocks like so. Okay, maybe we'll try blocks dot as ref. So maybe the arguments are incorrect. ID is a vector to reference to it. This and this. Okay, so we should say something like renum world type, and then we're going to say empty stone coal, and then we import from that world type from that. Then from U8 takes in the U8 from U8 and returns a world type. And then we say ID dot match ID. No, it's not going to. So 0 will return world type empty, 1 will return world type stone, and 2 will return world type coal, and then anything else will return unreachable so that it crashes when I inevitably add additional stuff. Okay. So if so it's not this, it's you take in a world type. Yeah. And then you would say world type from your hex type. Alright, so if world type equals world type empty, just return. So you need equal partials. The derive equal partial is so we have but so if it's that, it's empty, and then let's RNG. I mean, technically I could just make the coal a solid black, so it's stone. I guess we could just go here, we could go here, we could go color. Color temperature? No, we don't color temperature. Color hue. And we're going to say drop the lightness right down. And then we file and we export as coal. Okay, so we do that. And then I guess it's not block type, it's world type, and then we're going to say like FN sample. And this is going to take in a self, an RNG, which is going to be a equal RNG, and a pos, which is going to be a vec3, and then this will return a block type. Alright, so we'll just put to do here, and then we're going to say let block equal world type dot sample, and then the RNG is just going to be immutable reference to self. The RNG. Okay, and then the position is going to be a vec3 3 new x as f32 as f32 as f32. So there's our. Actually, no, they don't even need to be f32s. It's just going to be on an IVEC, because in theory, they're voxels, so they should always just be integers. Alright, and then we want to say commands.spawn. We'll leave that for now. So we need to say that it is scoped state scoped to voxel layer. We need to spawn in a mesh bundle, a PBR bundle. So mesh is going to be blocks.mesh. Texture is going to be blocks.texture, passing in block. And then material, wait, no, transform, no, material is this. Then the transform is going to be transform from translation vec3 new as f32 as f32 as f2. Okay, so and then I think the rest we can just default like so. So this should in theory, spawn voxels that then can be scoped out once we've implemented this. And this will fill the world. If the world is empty, it'll just fill it empty. All right, so we spawn this. We also need to spawn our, okay, that is our player. We need to make it so our player can move. So fm move player. Player, which is query. We also need to like despawn the 2D camera. New player. No. Init transform. Comma with player. Okay. FM move player, create transform player. We need inputs. Yeah, not many people watch this. I think that's kind of the way I've only got like 3 viewers at the moment. It's much more interesting when I'm doing something that actually like results in something you can see on the screen. Because at the moment I'm setting up a lot of things, which means that like the game very rarely gets compiled while I'm trying to get all the things put together. I'm sure if I was further into the development, it would make more sense. The other issue is I'm kind of just alone on the screen. Like if I had someone that I was talking to, it would be less boring because I would be talking more than just describing what I'm doing. And that's really actually me eating a biscuit in the microphone. Then I can see why you watch them. What's next? So we need to go to inputs and then we need to go for player. I guess we need the transform, don't we? For the player in players. That delta equals vec. I think it's just a vec2, isn't it? 0. We just want a blank vec2, and then for key in input pressed. Iterate through that, and we match key. That's too many keys. We go key code A, and that's delta dot x minus equals 1. And it's key, key A, and then key D is plus equals 1. Key W is y plus 1. Is it Z? No, I think it's Z plus 1. Oh, in this case it's Y, isn't it? Then this would y minus 1, and it would be key S, and then all the other keys don't do anything. So, yeah, we don't do shit. Let's do that. Do that. Alright, so we iterate through all the keys. We upgrade player. Front way. Alright. So we iterate through player transform. We then say something along the lines of let forward equal player dot forward. It's in middle. Forward dot y equals 0, so we're not looking up or down, and then forward dot normalize so that we correct it to back being 1. We need time, so time res time. And then we say I think dot as f32. No, vec3. Vector as vec3. Okay. So forward dot y and then we do forward equals forward dot normalize. Then we see like forward player dot translation plus equals. This really needs to be a vec3, doesn't it? Yeah, because we don't want to have to try and flip the z and the y, because that just seems really confusing. Instead, we can just say that, and then we say player dot translation plus equals forward times time dot delta seconds. Can't mutate player, right? The issue is we're going to have to come up with some way of tracking the player's turn. Oh no. Fine. We'll say because I can't be bothered with programming in mouse movement, we'll just go new your equals 0, and then key code key q is going to be your plus equals 1, and then we'll do that again, but this time it's going to be e and minus equals 1, and then player dot rotation, rotate around the y-axis by your times time delta seconds times like 0.01. Just make it slow, like 100. Okay. So with that, we should rotate the player with Q and E, move the player with SW and E, and then let's move player. So we need to add systems update, and then move player, and then dot run if in state voxel layer. So if we're in the voxel layer, we need to move the 3D camera around like so. I think we also need to times by speed, but I think in that case it's just times by 100. So that the player actually moves at a reasonable pace. So to sample this, and this is just should just always return like dirt for now or something, or just always return stone. Just block type. Sure, block type coal. One not equal. Just do that, just so that I don't forget and go, why the fuck is it always spawning this? We should despawn the 2D camera, I think. I don't know when we spawn it, so camera 3D bundle, a camera moves in somewhere we spawn camera. It's gonna say like is default UI camera. So we're just gonna take this. And we're just gonna pinch this entirely. Spawn the main camera. We're just gonna get rid of that so that it stops spawning a camera. But then we're gonna go to. Oh no, we need the UI camera. That's right. So can't do that. Go back to where we were. I don't know how to get back there. There we go. Put that back. I think this is the default UI camera. Then we need to say like camera order -1. Then we need to default the rest of it like so. Let's see. Okay. Error. What caused that error though? Weird. Wait, it despawned the camera. Did it? Well, that's the question. So we're gonna go back to chunk, right? And go, we're spawning the voxel map, right? The direction specifies where the player will spawn. So we'll work on that later. We are spawning it, right? Like, that's me player. I probably moved the player through the fill world. Oh, you know what? You probably filled the world with empty. Didn't it? We probably entered an empty map. Okay. Just said not impl a lot of times. And now there's a lot of PBR meshes, but I don't see them. Where the hell are they? Well, this is a 3D map. Let's try that again, but with it. We'll turn the 3D map on in the editor. I don't see the... Why don't I not see them? Mesh handle. Okay. Base color channel. Did it complain about not having a title? It shouldn't, because that would just result in it. Yeah, no, I'm not sure why it's not. I can't see anything. Do we just spawn a test cube? Well, it's definitely calling that over and over and over. Where is it? Not game layer. So it should be returning coal every time. We have the coal texture, yeah? Images voxels coal. Yeah, it is. It should be loading. So I think maybe we'll just spawn in a default cube. Open spawn blank. Commands. And then we need mesh, mute mesh, resources, res, mute, assets, server mesh. Right, and then we say mesh dot commands dot spawn pbr bundle mesh is mesh dot add cube 1 default. So app.add underscore system on enter voxel layer. Is it? It's called like one blank. The point is, I gotta try and see if I can fucking see the thing. I don't really know why it's not spawning. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, I would have thought that it would have been filling the world with little cubes, but I can't even get them to render. Why? Here we cut cargo. Okay. So it doesn't matter where I enter, there should be a cube. But my issue is, I don't know where this fucking cube is. Maybe I've got to move the camera higher up in the order so that it actually spawns first. So when we spawn the camera, we're gonna say camera order 1 dot default comma dot default. So order cameras with higher orders are rendered later. Okay, we should go find the ducky and say order -1, so 2, and that one says a border. Okay. Why? I still don't see you. Where is it though? Transform, visible, invisible, inherit, visible. They don't have any gizmo for it, so that kind of implies it's not on the screen. There it is. Why can't I see it though? Like, it doesn't have a material. Wait, is it just really small? Wait, why was it really far away? The fuck was it? I don't get that. The fuck was it? Is it that the cameras are really far away? This camera can't see it still. But that's because this camera's inside of it. That's the stepping zone. Camera. Wait, camera is here. Don't despawn. Transform. Excuse me. Why are you still constantly flying away? That is interesting. That implies some kind of not correctness in my movement. So when we say move camera, move player, get pressed, forward normalize times by, oh no, we need to times by delta. There we go. Because it's just constantly flying forward, hence we can't see anything. Okay, play, enter. Okay, still don't see it. Free camera doesn't see it. Is this camera still just running away? No. So... hey look. Okay, I don't know why it only seems to want to move pretty fast forward and backwards. Yeah. Sideways it moves really slow. Just ignore the duck. The duck is not here. He's just you know, vibing with us. He's like my only viewer. He's just chilling. I don't know why it moves so much slower sideways. Probably just a delta thing, maybe? That, or the multiply by delta, the delta by time. Maybe it's because we need to multiply those two together, then dot normalize. And then multiply by those two, so that we're not like ending up with a really short. It's somewhere. Alright, where's my camera? Put the camera back at 0. Apparently it's at 0. It's at infinity. What do you mean it's at infinity? Okay, does that dot normalize, or I think we need normalize or 0, because I think what happened there is that it normalized it into infinity, and once it became infinity it was kind of stuck at infinity because forward was always infinity. Okay, now we don't even move sideways at all. Oh, wait. No, we need, so it would be like forward, times by delta dot of z, and then it's, this again, but instead it's, do this again, but this is left. Oh, I think maybe it's right. And then right. And then instead you're right. And then that'll be x times, yep. And then you're right. Okay. Does that work? So now we move forward by what the player's forward is, and then left and right by the player's left and right. Yay, okay. Now, we move much faster. And then Q&A really slowly rotated. Like, incredibly slowly. But I feel like if I make this too much bigger, like if I just don't do that, maybe 1/60th of a rotation per, which is like, it's like a rotation every 3 seconds or something. Okay, that seems fast now. Look at the duck, he didn't have spins with it. Dude, duck, 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 duck. Okay, so we're just gonna quickly, again, just for the sake of getting something done, we're gonna go struct solid, and it's gonna be bool, it's 16 by 16 16, and then impl solid set, which is going to be self and x I32 y I32 z I32, and self dot 0 x plus z times 16 plus y times 16 times 16 times 16 equals true. All right, and then we need clear and get. So then your equals false, and then get just returns this. Like so. Okay. Okay. Use signs. No, we can't do that. Let me just say all of that as he says, and then we just say all of that as he says, and then finally all of this as he says. You need to mute clear is also mute, and the only one that's not is get, because get doesn't touch the data. Okay, so solid needs to be a resource. Derive solid, and derive resource and default. All right, then we're going to come up here. We're going to say app.init init resource solid, and then when we spawn the map, we're going to say everything clear all, which takes in self, and then just says self dot 0 equals false 16 times 16. So then we say find input default for solid, default, and that's going to say self, and it's false bar 16 times 16 times 16. Alright. Okay, so block world sample right? And then, so this is also need access to solid, which is going to be a middle reference to solid. Alright, so we're going to say first thing you do is solid dot clear all. Okay. Then let block equal, yep, okay. So we need to go here and be all like is solid and self dot match self. Right, we need the reference to self as well because we can't just match something self. And then we go do, and then we say empty, and this returns true. You return true. Otherwise, you're going to return. No, you're false, and then you're true, and then you're also true. Right. So is solid false true true? Okay, and then so we're going to say set. And I'm going to say set is equals. And then we can stop calling it clear all and just call it clear. Okay, clear set resets it, and then set sets it. Alright, so then we want to say solid dot set xyz to block dot is solid. So the idea here is we're going to sample, we're going to use the block. What? It's not world type I want to put this in. Fucking block that we want to put this in. Again, it's somewhere around here there's a thing called block type, isn't there? Solid world types. There, block type. Got here too. Cant is solid. Alright. And block type. Not a reference, just a block type, please. Right, and that kind of makes it more because it's not an empty block, it's air. Air. Okay. Right, so false, true, true. And then you said block and then set solid. Okay. So so we sample, we always return coal for some reason. Okay. This function takes 5 arguments, so we need to request solid. Now, as you can see, the code is getting more and more erratic as I progress further and further into this because I'm just starting to put things in place to try and get them to work. Solid, and then we have to pass in new solid. Alright, so with that we can now check all the solids, and then look, a big black cube. Hey, okay. Oh, we need solid to check. Okay. No, we need just a res solid. We need player. With player. Alright, we should probably work on the sample more, but we're gonna get gravity working. So what we're gonna do is for player. Okay. Okay, so let y equal higher dot what translation dot seal dot y no, dot y dot seal minus 1 that x equal player dot translation dot x dot round dot as I32 that y equal player dot translation dot z dot round as I32 and then we say if solid dot get xy as I32 then player dot translation minus equals vec3 y times by 9.8 times by time dot delta second. Can't find z in the scope. Z. All right. So there's some gravity applied, so we should just always be falling, and then I'm gonna do that and say finalize on enter. So update run if okay. So move player, and this is gravity. Okay, gravity, and then we need to say bomb move gravity back to hex. Back to hex is going to take in player, and it's going to take in a query for transform with player, and then what are we doing? So we say we just actually really need the player transform. We need an event writer. Event write player and this is a change layer. Right, and then we should be able to say if player dot for player in player if player dot translation dot y is less than -2, event dot send change event to hex with ID. I don't think we keep track of the chunks ID anywhere. So maybe this, and then we say since you have access to the chunk ID, right, up here, you've access to commands, so you can say like commands dot insert resource chunk ID like this. So just to keep track of what chunk we're in. This is probably the worst way of doing it, but anyway. So 2 hex, and that would be chunk dot 0, and direction is 1, 2, 3, 4. Why is it 3, isn't it? It's 0, 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that would be direction 3. Okay. Else if player dot translation dot player dot translation dot y is greater than 18. I guess it's greater than 17. Okay, 18 maybe. I don't know, because I don't even know if it's going to be possible to get to here, but this is just if you're off the top. And that would be 0. Yes, I would do it like this, thank you. So just okay. So we go here and go else if, and then it's so y, and then this one will be x, and z, and then so if you 3, then I guess you'd be 4, 1, 5, 2. I think that would be right. So we send those events based on if the player is in any of those positions, and then back to hex, and we check that. I guess spawn. Just check that every time. So back to hex. So if we fall out of the world, we should go back to the hex. And I think back to hex is just going to put us back at the center, but I'm not 100% sure because I don't think we do anything with back to hex except. So for now, back to hex will just set us back to the hex world so that we can jump in, jump out of these. So we spawn the map. So what are we doing? So we've got solid. We've got gravity. Gravity should start pulling us down. So when we sample this, we need to match self. No. You're missing out. So empty just returns block type air, and then stone returns with a, I guess like an air 60% probability maybe, like so RNG if RNG dot genbool with a 60% probability block block type stone, else block type air, and then coal is going to be like if RNG no gen pool. There's going to be like a an 80% chance it generates a no 60% chance it generates a block, right? So I guess we should do the other way. We should say maybe a 30% chance it'll be air. Sorry, 30% chance else. Yep. So if it's not air, RNG.gen, there's going to be 25% chance that what's not air will be coal. Block type coal, else block type stone. Alright, so then that should sample that. I don't know why the position matters. I guess because if I went to RNG, like we could probably say that on stone worlds, if y equals 0, return block type stone. So that means that always the bottom layer and let me see here, and y does not equal 0. Yeah, so now on the bottom layer it'll never be air, so you always can't just fall through. What is it? It's not y, it's pos.y. Y. I guess we could just get or pos.y equals 0. There we go, because then we don't have to return over, we can just do that. Okay, so this should, in theory, generate like a map of some description. I saw an error pop up. What was that? Can't find path. I don't know what it's not loading. Anyway, if we go into coal, it just crashes because apparently. What are you complaining? Index out of bounds. The len is, but the index is some absurd number. Right. We need to get negative numbers somehow. Okay, so it's dot get dot unwrap oh no wrap that's all of that like that, and then it's dot wrap or false. Well, the main thing with that is I'm pretty sure it's because it's checking outside. Alright, so it was obviously checking below the map. So we entered, but then we're just immediately falling out. So we need to now spawn the player in the correct location. So when they come in, we need to set their let's move player. Spawn player. Where is spawn player? Let's get rid of spawn blank because we don't need spawn blank anymore. It's working. Where was spawning blank? Spawn blank, go away. So next, spawn voxel map direction. So we need to okay. Pause from enter. So this is going to be direction U8, and it will return a vec3. So match direction. All right, that's not how that works. So 0, gonna go vec3. No, so it's going to be, I guess, 8. 16, 8, because we're coming in from the top, and then direction 1, which is I think the right, it's going to be vec3 new 16, 8, 8, and then 2, which I believe is the front. I got a dice. It's kind of my choice, really. But I think we'll call that the front. Vec3. No, so to be the front, it would be 8. Oh, no, actually 8, and then I guess 16. We'll just go with that pattern, whatever that ends up being. And then 3 is going to be vec3 new. So 3 is the bottom, so it's going to be 8, 0, 8, and then your 4 is going to be following the same pattern. Vec3 new, so that you're going to be 0, 8, 8, and then 5 will be Vec3 new 8, 8, 0. And then everything else will just be reach. Alright, so with that, there, from enter pause, so your translation, so transform from translation, pause from enter, and then we give it direction. Alright, so that should mean that when we enter the map, we actually enter from the side we tell it to, and therefore we can be on top, or on the left, or on the right. Because before, we're just sort of entering always in the bottom right corner, and that was, I think, just causing us to be immediately kicked out. We're still being immediately kicked out. It's slowly falling. Why can I enter from this side? Well, okay. We got to work out where the player is being placed then, because for some reason, back to hexagon. If what? Okay, so can we just print players at, and then player, and then we just do that, and we go, where the hell are we? Alright, where? We doesn't even print anything. So why are we getting kicked immediately back out? What is transitioning us back? Or did I just not save it? And it's just doing the same thing. Yeah, I probably just didn't save it. Considering that there's an error translation. I probably just didn't save it. Okay. Alright. Player is at 2100. Player is at... What the fuck was the player doing at 21? Am I like not multiplying by speed or something when I apply gravity? And it's just flying off the bottom in like 2 frames? Probably. No. Well, first off, why are you starting up there? Why are you doing this? First off, why did you start at 21? That doesn't make any sense. But we spawn our player. Like, it could just be that. So we need a different component. We need to flag specifically the voxel player because it appears Alright, so we need to be case sensitive. No, don't find and replace them all. We need to be case sensitive. So, the top. Okay, don't bring this anymore. We have you, voxel player, yep. So something down here is broken. So there's a voxel player. There's this player. It's voxel player now. There's that one, this one. Okay, there should be all. So it seems like maybe the potential issue is just that we were spawning the player in, and then it was immediately spawning out because the 1 frame lag between like things being applied meant that it was checking where the player was when they entered them. Okay, so we're at least seeing a frame. So what's it saying? So we're still spawning in at 0, which is that we're coming in at 1. Apparently this spawns us in at 1, and then at 1 we slowly fall down from 0. So where the hell is... Why is 1 the bottom? 1 should be the top. This is the top. Why are you considered 3 then? Am I just stupid? Probably. Still came in at 0. But that's the only one that's 0. So what do you mean you came? You started at 0, 8, 8. Why did you start at 0, 8, 8? Where did you start at that time? You started at 8, 8, 0. And then I fell for a little while. So why the fuck do you start at 0? What do you, oh no, you started at 16. We need to go to like, yeah, pan. Free camera. It's just not spawning in the rest of the stuff now. It's just spawning all this. So this stuff's just not spawning in anymore, which is a bit weird. Why is it not spawning in anymore? Oh, because we're in an empty chunk, that's why. Well, now we're stuck. Yeah, so we can just walk through the entire chunk. Let's just make the player like 1 block high. So to do that, we need to go move player. No, so gravity. So gravity was going to say don't check one block down. No, check one block down. That's gravity. Check one block down. And then move. When we move, we're going to say player dot. We just need to say next equals this one. So it's this player transform next and then we say next plus equals that. Okay, and we get rid of those two. And then we say player dot, okay, if next dot okay. Yeah, off equals next dot round. Round doesn't apply in place, does it? It takes a copy of itself. Alright, and then we say we need to get X solid. Like that. And then we say if solid, not solid, dot get off dot just dot I as IVEC, and just off dot X, off dot Y, and off dot Z. If not solid, then player dot equals next. Right, so we just check to see if the block we're about to move into is solid, and then if it's not solid, we continue on. Well, like we move the player, so we keep track of where the player is, and if it's not solid, we move on. This should mean that we don't just allow the player to run around unless it's not solid in front of. Well, it kind of worked. I can definitely move, but only. Excuse me. Why are you moving down? Oh, because I probably moved over something that didn't. Yeah, I'm probably moving over blocks that are not solid, and then I'm folding. I also moved really fast. Okay, then the duck falls over, and then we go. Okay, that's yeah. Then we go in. Oh, yeah, don't enter from the bottom. Oh, gotta be really careful because you're very fast. All right, we need to slow the player down because they are fuck fast. Maybe turn it down to like 10 times. Okay, so then we go back to our voxel thing and we work out where the fuck the player is in terms of back to hex. So we don't need to reprint that out every time. Okay, so go in from the top, and we're just going to fall straight out the bottom because, you know, in from the top. Okay. Oh, we're still in here. We can't jump. And also, I think the way it works, because we're rounding, we can just... No, we're literally stuck in a box. Oh, no! No! Okay, that's kind of funny. But, also not going to get fixed today, because I'm getting really tired of doing this. And I've been working at this for fucking hours. So... we have the kind of core concept. We have a hexagon map that we can drop down into the different layers. And if you leave the edges of the map, you put back at the top. It definitely needs to like a hell of a lot of polishing to it, but it's like just a little bit beyond what I'm capable of right now, mentally. Just trying to think if there's anything else that really critically needs to be done. I don't think so. Like, obviously there's still a lot to do. It's just, this is enough that if I leave it with my partner, he should be able to make some progress, like without me being present and not move in a completely different direction than what I'm expecting. But we'll find out. Yeah, all right. I think I might call that a stream. My brain is just constantly gone, so thank you for anyone tuned in, and give it the end. It was a lot of fun. I would say I made a lot of progress, but it does feel like I kind of ended up with something really quite clunky. But what can you expect? So I guess I'll see you all in the next episodes, or next stream, or whatever I do. And yeah, again, thanks for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. I'll see you next one. I'm just so tired.